American, and thank you all for tuning in to our meeting with Carlin and Pacific Life. We also have, you can see up on the screen, Amanda Combs, and it says John Shaw, but that's Daniel McFarland. What a our marketing site. Daniel, if you could wave, that'd be great. Daniel does a great job for us too. You know, we're going to make this recording available, so some of y'all might be seeing this as a recording. I knew some of the people said that they wouldn't be able to call in at exactly 10 o'clock this morning, so we'll send this to them. But it might be a good show to review, because you might not have a client this minute that this works for, but you might want to review how this works. Of course, you know, any of our crack staff can help you on this. We particularly think that this Pacific Life fluidless underwriting is just perfect for the world we're living in today. And it really, a lot of the other quote-unquote accelerated underwriting or contactless underwriting programs that are out there really address the group of under age 50, which, as we know, are the less sophisticated buyers, and those are more transactional by nature. Pacific Life is addressing that group of over age 50, you know, and these are more substantial cases with larger premiums, more TLC, and they are more of a group who may be less likely to want to go and see a physician or have a paramedic come and see them because of the worries of COVID. But who needs this coverage more? I know people are waiting. I'll wait. First, we heard Amanda told me, everybody said, we'll wait till after the election till we make Then they said, oh, we'll wait till there's a vaccine out. And now they're going to wait till COVID's all the way over with. But I think right now is the most important time for people to up their insurance, to pick up an additional $500,000 or $1 million more of coverage. We don't, even though there could be a substantial reduction of infections and deaths 6 months from now, there's no proof that that's actually going to happen. And the really serious problem is that while this vaccine is getting approved in the next week or so, it's not going to be distributed thoroughly to everybody. And this death toll is climbing and getting out of hand. And just as soon as they make this thing, everybody thinks the vaccine's going to be available, and everybody starts letting down their guard. And you know what happens then. And of course, we still haven't seen this wave from the holidays come and hit us. And I just believe that this is the most important time ever to buy just some additional life insurance. And I know Carlin doesn't want me to say, even if you just buy it for 1 year, because I know most people are going to get it for a year anyway. But even if there is just for a year, but I think you're going to find out that people are going to be really glad that they bought this product. We know that Pacific Life has some of the most competitive 10, 15, and 20-year term rates, and the most competitive ones at preferred and standard rates, let alone one of the best GULs also. And I think, I guess you're going to cover, Carlin, the conversion rules, which you really do get the best product to convert to with Pacific, and that's also a concern. And also, you know, a great, strong, you know, A-plus carrier. I just wanted to throw in a couple of new things at Shaw American, just to make sure everybody has heard this. We've revamped our phone system. We know it's not always the easiest thing to log into a website, to get a quote, to get service on your policy, to check on blah, 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 because you're traveling, you're in your car, you don't have time to sit down to log on. It might be because you're working from home or you're at your grandmother's house for the holidays, and it's just not easy to sit down and log on. We believe we are the first ones, you know, we've been innovators in so many things in the insurance industry, to have two things added now to our phone system. First, when you call the phone system, listen to the options like it says, but if you click on number one of the choices is you can connect to any carrier's policy service department. We know that people, because they're at home a lot, they're looking at their policies, they're worried about life insurance, and so they want to know, is that old Valley Forge policy they have still in force, or Protective Life or Pacific Life? And you can click on one, just type in the first 3 letters of that carrier's name, and it will connect you directly to that carrier's policy service department. So you don't have to go through an intermediary at Shaw American and get back to them the next day. You can, if you have the policy number, you're going to be able to get the client's information. Now, the next thing you can do on the phone system is, sometimes it's not easy to get on. Hey, I just left the client's, I just got off the phone with the client, and I don't have time to log on because something else to do. Somebody might be driving back from Florida or Hilton Head or someplace, and they say, I need to get a proposal run, but I don't have time to log in and do it right now, but I want to get this off my desk. And so you can pick up the phone, click on number 2, and there's about 10 questions that will be asked of you. And after you're done, we will then email that proposal to you within 10 minutes. Now, that is only going to work if you do it after hours. A lot of times it's good just to get it off your desk after hours. And then you'll have it by 9:30 the following morning. And it's a great way just to get a proposal run. It's for term and GUL. And third, you can click the next button to get to an annuity specialist, right to our annuity desk. And then also, if you have a disability case, to Sherwin, who handles our disability, and you can get right to a disability expert directly. So it saves you time from having to go through our switchboard. And I know Amanda and Daniel and Brandon are always there to help you, but sometimes it takes a few minutes to get to them and then get logged onto the company and stuff. And so this way you can have direct access to these systems. By the way, I see that Brandon Shuck has logged on. Brandon, could you wave for us? Brandon's also one of our marketing specialists too. And Brandon's been doing a great job also. Sorry for taking all that time away from you, Carlin, but let me turn it over to Amanda real quick. I know she's had some words to say, and I am going to go on to
All right, guys. Well, just kind of as John said, I'd like to thank everybody for taking their morning to join us. I think that you all found this presentation with Carlin very useful. We've always got, people that want to have their applications submitted without using or without having an exam, and this is the perfect solution for our older age clients that want to do that. We've had great success with this program, so I'd like to make sure that you all are aware of this. It is not an accelerated program, so it's not one of those things that they have to have other criteria to meet. We just have to be able to obtain the medical records from the doctor showing that they have had that physical and lab work within the past 18 months. And Carlin will get into all the details for you guys on that. Just want to say, I know the end of the year is quickly approaching, and we've all had a lot of ups and downs this year. But if there are any cases or anything that we can assist you with so that we can get those wrapped up and done before the end of the year, please reach out to myself or anybody else here on the staff, and we'll do everything we can to help you get that completed and done. So that's all I've got. Carlin, we'll let you take it over from there.
Well, thank you, Amanda and John. Welcome, everyone. I really appreciate you taking the time today to learn more about Pacific Life and our smooth sailing program. I'm going to just spend some time talking about the program and give you an overview, show you what it looks like in the Vive platform so you get a feel for that. And then what I want to do is spend a little bit of time towards the back end, as John mentioned, talking about the conversion product and some of the conversion opportunities that are out there to you, as well as spend a little bit of time talking about the e-capabilities on Producer Bay to talk about the in-force block of business, how you can manage your in-force block of business with us. So with that, I'm going to get started. So our program today, we've actually processed over 12,000 policies and counting with our fluidless program that's called Smooth Sailing. Now, smooth sailing actually came out about 3 years ago, and it just really wasn't a high adoption rate. But with COVID coming on, it became very, very important to people. Obviously, they didn't want folks coming into their house. They didn't want to go to a Quest Center to give fluids. So this became a very, very popular program due primarily to COVID. And with this program, it's very different than what you might be used to with a true accelerated program. This is not an accelerated program. This is a fluidless program. But one thing that's very important to note with this program is that 90% of the people that apply for smooth sailing actually qualify for smooth sailing. So there's only 10% of the folks that apply that actually don't qualify, and I'll explain what that 10% looks like and what causes that. But that's extremely, extremely high pass-through rate for this program. As I said, most true accelerated programs have a much lower pass-through rate than this. So this is what the program looks like, and it's very, very easy. It's not a lot of moving parts, and sometimes people get a little bit confused because it's so simple. I think it can't be this easy. So over there on the left-hand side are the requirements for the program. The three middle bullets, well, excuse me, the two middle bullets and the bottom bullet tell you what the requirements are. So as Amanda mentioned, this program is available for clients age 50 to 69. And again, most true accelerated programs out there don't go up to the age 69. A lot of them cap out at age 60. So this is a good place for us to have this program because a lot of people in the older age market, again, are worried about COVID. They don't want people coming to their house. So this program gives them the opportunity to avoid that paramed and that exam. Now, this is available on both our term product as well as our GUL product. So you can get this smooth sailing through either of those products. I want to point out with the age issue, it is age nearest. So if you had a client age 49, 6 months and a day, her or his age nearest would actually be 50 and he could qualify for the program. But if you have a client age 69, 6 months and a day, they're going to be considered age 70. So they would not qualify for the program. So it is age nearest for ages 50 to 69 to qualify for the program. So the first qualification is age. The second qualification is face amount. So either applied for or in force with Pacific Life must be equal to or less than $1 million. So it doesn't matter if they had, let's say, a $2 million policy with Protective and they wanted to come in and apply for a $500,000 term policy with Pacific Life. What we're looking at for that $1 million threshold is what they have in force with Pacific Life or what they're applying for. So let's say you had a consumer that had a $200,000 term policy with us and they wanted to come back and do an $800,000 GUL. That is fine because it caps out at that $1 million threshold, so they could do that. So second qualification for smooth sailing is the face amount, $1 million or less in force and applied for with Pacific Life. Now that last bullet is the third requirement. So the client has to have seen their doctor in the past 18 months and had a comprehensive physical with blood work. And so what I mean by that, and typically what we're seeing here is clients between the ages of 50 and 69 are going to their doctor on a regular basis because maybe they have high blood pressure, maybe they're diabetic, maybe they have issues that they have to get checked out on an annual basis with their doctor. So they're going, once a year to get this done. So as long as your client has been to their doctor in the past 18 months and had blood work done, they'll qualify for smooth sailing. So again, the three requirements: age nearest, 50 to 69, applied for in force with Pacific Life, $1 million or less. And then the third qualification is they have to have seen their doctor in the past 18 months and had blood work. If the client has done all three things, they can qualify for smooth sailing. Now, I mentioned earlier smooth sailing is available for both term and GUL. Smooth sailing is also available any way you submit it. So if you submit it through a drop ticket platform like Vive, you can do smooth sailing. If you do a long application, you write it out, you can do smooth sailing. So either way you want to present that case, we'll take it that way. Now, prior to COVID, I would tell you that this is available for all rate classes, but due to COVID, we're capping this program out at table 4, which again is very different than most other carriers that have a true accelerated program because they cap those programs out at standard. We cap it at table 4. So let's say you have a client that is actually a table 4, and they're 55 years old and they want to apply for a $500,000 term case and they have seen their doctor in the past 18 months and had blood work, they can come in through smooth sailing and we will not require a paramed or an exam. So it's very, very unique program. I want to make sure you take a chance and look into it. I've got a lot of marketing materials that Shaw will share with you guys, and I'm sure they have it out there on their website that you can get information. We have consumer pieces as well as producer fact sheets for you to review with this program. Now, another thing that makes this program different is The reason it's not an accelerated program is we actually are going after the client's APS to make that underwriting offer. So we're waiving the paramed and the exam, and we're getting the information that we need out of the client's APS to make the underwriting offer. And the reason that's important is we'll be able to tell you if you bring in a client that you think is a standard risk, and we come back and we say, the client's a table 2, we'll be able to tell you exactly why we made that offer, because we're using that APS, we're using traditional underwriting to make that underwriting offer. So we'll be able to tell you exactly why the client's a table 2. A lot of times what you see with true accelerated underwriting programs is they're using a black box scoring methodology or credit scoring. So they're not able to tell you why they're making the offer that they are. Maybe they're using LexisNexis or something like that. So just keep that in mind. That's another thing that makes this program very, very different from what you've seen before. Now, I didn't say this when I started. At the end, I'll unmute everybody. So if you have any questions, we can go through those as well. So keep that in mind if you have any questions. But a very, very simple program. I want to tell you the 10% that get kicked out, why are they getting kicked out? And I'm going to tell you exactly why they're getting kicked out. So I've seen one where the client comes in and they're applying and they're age 47. So age 47, they're not going to qualify because they don't meet the age range of age nearest 50 to 69. I've seen it happen where the policy comes in, they're applying for $1 million. The client decides during underwriting to increase it to $1.6 million. Well, they're not going to qualify for smooth sailing because they've exceeded that $1 million threshold. Now, that last bullet on the left-hand side, that's where I see most people, that 10% get kicked out from, because what's happening is the client is just simply misremembering timing and what occurred. And what I mean by that is, so I've seen one where they came in, the client said, yes, I've been to my doctor in the last 18 months and had blood work done. And in fact, they had been to their doctor. They went 6 months ago, but they did not get any blood work done. So the client just simply misremembered that they didn't, do a blood draw during that office visit. And the second example I'll see is the client will say, yep, I've been to my doctor in the last 18 months and had blood work done. And they did go to their doctor and they did have blood work done, but it was 2 years ago. So again, they're just misremembering timing. So those are the primary reasons I see that 10% that don't qualify for the program that apply. That's usually what's causing it. I'll give you one very odd example that I did see where it was a doctor. The consumer was a doctor and he was his own doctor. And so he was doing his own annual, reviews of himself, but he did not qualify because when he was doing these annual reviews, he wasn't tracking his height or weight. He wasn't tracking blood pressure. So there was nothing in that APS to give us the information that we were looking for other than the blood draw. So those are the exceptions that the people that actually don't qualify for smooth sailing because they fall into those little buckets. But again, it's only 10% of the people that apply for smooth sailing that do not qualify. So I mentioned earlier that this is available via the Vive platform. And so when you're going out there, you're going to get some questions asked to you when you're dropping the ticket on the client. What's going to happen is when you're entering the information, if you enter the client is say age 55 and they're applying for a $250,000 term policy, what's going to happen is the system is going to recognize that this client potentially could qualify for smooth sailing. So it's going to pop out some additional questions to you. It's going to ask you, has the client, had any exam or labs done recently? I'll tell you, I don't like the way that question is worded because it doesn't match up with our qualifications, but they're interested to know that. So they're asking that question. If you say no, that will not kick the client out of smooth sailing. What will happen is when it goes to our fulfillment vendor, who's exam 1, when they call to do the phone interview with the consumer, they're going to ask the smooth sailing questions regardless because the client potentially could qualify based on their age and face amount. Now, if you answer that question yes on the drop ticket, then another question pops out and it basically asks, have they had blood work done in the past 18 months? And you can say yes or no. So, but don't worry if you get wrapped up on that with a drop ticket because it doesn't matter if you say yes or no there. Once it goes to the fulfillment vendor, they're still going to ask the questions for smooth sailing to see if the client qualifies, just because based on their age and face amount, they potentially could qualify for smooth sailing. Now, I mentioned you can also do the smooth sailing program with our long application. So if you are taking a long application and you're not doing an electronic ticket, which I know most people are doing that nowadays due to COVID, but if you are doing a long application, in the producer report, in section 3 of the producer report is the smooth sailing questions. And they're exactly the 3 qualifications that we mentioned earlier. Is your client, the applicant, age nearest birthday 50 to 69? the amount of coverage is going to be less than or equal to $1 million applied for or enforced with Pacific Life. And then the third qualification, have they seen their doctor in the past 18 months and had blood work done? What you can do there is you can check yes. And when we get that application in-house and we see that, we'll cancel any parameds or exams that were scheduled, and we'll go down the smooth sailing path with that client. So again, you can apply for smooth sailing either via the drop ticket, via Vive, or with our long application, either way. And I want to show you, these are the questions that our fulfillment vendor, who is exam one, these are the questions that they're asking your client during the phone interview for smooth sailing. So I've actually had it where the client qualified for smooth sailing, but they didn't understand necessarily these questions, and they said no to these questions. So we thought the client didn't qualify for smooth sailing, and we had to go back and get some more information. So I wanted to make sure you knew what the questions were. So they're asking, when was your last comprehensive physical where height and weight and blood pressure, et cetera, were taken? Did the physical include a blood draw, blood test, say for cholesterol or glucose? Who conducted the physical and blood test? And then what is their name and address? Because what they're finding out here is, okay, the client did go to their doctor in the past 18 months. They did have blood work done in the past 18 months. I want to know who that doctor is, because I'm going to go after that APS to get the information that I need to underwrite the policy. Now, this program is available, like I mentioned earlier, for PL Promise Term as well as PL Promise GUL. We do have a PL Promise Conversion UL. That is the conversion product that is available if a client purchased PL Promise Term and they wanted to convert, they can convert to PL Promise Conversion UL. We have a lot of features built into our conversion product that are very different than most other carriers' conversion-only products. I will say, first off, it's actually very competitively priced. It's way more competitively priced than the competition's conversion-only products. So we wanted to make sure we had a competitively priced product. But what we've built into the conversion product is benefits to you and to the client if we do what we call an early term conversion. And what I mean by that, let's say you sold a client a Promise Term 10-year product, and you sat down with the client in year 4 and you had a conversation, and you and the client decide, it's a good time to convert this policy. We're going to convert this policy. So years 1 through 4 of a PL Promise Term 10-year product are considered an early term conversion. What that enables us to do is to pay you up to 150% of your normal compensation. Whatever your normal compensation is, we're going to pay you a nice bonus on that because you've done an early term conversion with us. And for the consumer, we're going to provide them with our most competitive pricing with that product. Now, let's say that conversation didn't happen. In years 8, you realize, I got to sit down with this client and have a conversation. Somehow or another, I've missed this. So you sit down and you have the conversation with the client in year 8 of a 10-year term with us, and you guys decide to convert the policy. What will happen is we'll pay you 100% of normal compensation because that's considered a mid-term conversion. You'll lose that nice bonus that you would have gotten if you'd have done the early term conversion. The consumer is still going to get our most competitive pricing. However, they'll be 4 years older, so it's going to cost them a little bit more just because of their age. So for a 10-year term product, years 1 through 4 are an early term conversion. Years 5 through 8 are a mid-term conversion. Now, let's say you totally missed, something happened, this client fell through this, slipped through the cracks or whatever. In year 10, they call you and they say, I need to convert this policy. So years 10 of a 10-year policy is considered a late term conversion. Years 9 through 10 are considered a late term conversion. This is where we as a carrier experience our worst mortality. So what we're going to do here is we're actually going to do a haircut on your compensation. You're only going to get 50% comp in years 9 and 10 of a 10-year term conversion. And the client is actually going to pay slightly higher premiums, not just because they're older, but it is a different pricing for a late term conversion. Now, I will tell you, the good news for you is that all of our policies, they're just going to be turning 4 years old. Actually, this last month, they turned 4 years old, was the first policy. So years 1 through 4 are an early term conversion for all the policies that are on the books today. Now, if it's a 20-year product, and that's our most popular product, that's the one we sell the most, that duration, that 20-year term, years 1 through 9 on that are considered an early term conversion. So you've got a lot of opportunity there with the conversions. I actually have one customer that has done quite a few really, really nice conversions, and it's worked out very, very well for him and his folks there. So just take a look, and again, Shaw will make sure they provide you with the marketing materials. There is a producer guide that explains what I just went through with the early, mid, and late term conversions, so you can actually see that on a piece of paper and get more information about it. And John also mentioned we have an extremely competitive GUL. This policy looks very, very good. If you guarantee it to age 90, that is our #1 sweet spot. It looks good on a level pay as well as a short pay. So if you do a 1035 exchange into this GUL, it looks very, very good. It's very, very competitively priced. It does have a return of premium feature built into it. You can't get that return of premium feature unless you guarantee the policy to at least age 100, general rule of thumb. But it's a free feature once you guarantee it to at least age 100, and it works for the client. So let's say they do the GUL, they want to keep it for a certain period of time, and they decide to surrender it. They've got a return of premium feature. They can get up to a certain percentage of the premium back, or up to 40% of the policy's death benefit. And I didn't mention the conversion UL also has a return of premium feature built into it as well. So what you're going to see across our products, and our two biggest products that we're selling right now is the PL Promise Term, obviously, and the GUL. You'll see that we have really low minimum face amounts. So the term product goes down to a minimum face amount of $50,000. The GUL goes down to a minimum face amount of $25,000, which is really nice if you have an older age client that maybe is looking for a final expense solution that can qualify for underwriting. It's a much cheaper way to go than do a guaranteed issue policy. You'll see that we're very focused on guarantees with all of our products, as well as predictable and consistent underwriting. Price-wise, you're going to see that we're going to be in the top 3 to the top 5 with our products on a consistent basis. We typically want to be in the top 3. For the term product, I will point out that we're very competitive on a monthly modal factor. We're more competitive on monthly than we are annual. So if you're looking at a policy on an annual basis and it's not as competitive as you need it to be, always look at us on a monthly basis. And I mentioned earlier, we're very competitive on shorter guarantees. So that GUL is very competitive when you dial it down to age 90. That's going to be the #1 sweet spot for that GUL. And in this day and age, we offer a lot of digital capabilities. So we do have e-delivery. So if you want to offer a client a totally touchless process from beginning to end, you can do that with the Vive platform using the electronic, drop ticket process. They do the phone interview. If they qualify for smooth sailing, they're between the ages nearest 50 and 69. We do a phone interview to complete that. And we go after the APS, so there's nobody coming to their house to take, any fluids. And then you can do e-delivery on the back end. So the client it's a touchless process. The client's not touched in person. We do have also express requirements that are available to you. And these are features that you can turn on, and you can get more information on that, where we'll actually go out to the consumer to electronically fulfill an underwriting requirement or a new business requirement. The e-ticket process does give you the client the ability to do voice sign. And we do have a lot of e-marketing tools as well as emails, customizable emails. This is a piece, I'm not going to go through this to save time, but this is a piece that's available to you, and Shaw will make sure you guys have access to it as well. But it just gives you our sweet spots for the term product, the conversion product, and the GUL. And I've pointed out several of these as we've talked today. We do have a 25-year option with the term product. Typically, you're going to see us be #1 or #2 with that. That product is very, very competitively priced. Price-wise, it's usually, if you're looking at us from a age and rate class standard, so ages 30 to 70 is where the term product is going to be the most competitive. Normally, I would say we're out to table 6, but due to COVID, we're capping it at table 4 with those policies today. But typically, we would be competitive out to table 6, and hopefully, we'll get back to normal soon with our guidelines and be able to offer it that way. But again, this is a marketing piece we'll make sure you get access to, and you can get more information about it. So I'm going to go back and turn on everybody's mics and see if anybody has any questions. I think I'm turning on everybody's mics. Amanda, can you speak let's see if it's let me unmute everybody.
I think so. It looks like everybody is available.
Okay. Are there any? Well, no.
Well,
no,
actually, it looks like I am, but it looks like everybody else is still muted.
Let me see if I can unmute them.
There's John.
Yeah, you can unmute yourself, I guess. It's a little box over the bottom left if you want to ask a question. But Carly, I just want to tell you, our experience has been fantastic. We have really been surprised when you get $1 million policy issued on a 65-year-old without an exam, just their APS. Sometimes the APSs can be difficult to get, but if you have a motivated buyer, they can usually go and talk their doctor into sending the records to us, or giving them to them to pick up, or we'll go pick them up or whatever. But also that with our program, we know how tough it is for you guys out there in the field trying to get things done in this COVID world where people want to put off making decisions. You can't really get in front of people. And then doctors' offices don't want to be responsive. And then sometimes the home offices, people are out or sick or whatever, and they're working from home. But we haven't had any problems at all with Pacific Life. They've been right there the whole time with us and have never had any delays on any underwriting or on policy issue or on policy service either. They've been great. And just keep in mind with our e-sign capability, if you will just get the client on the phone, Amanda, Daniel, or Brandon will complete the applications with you and the client on the phone, if that helps you, or complete the electronic applications or Vive applications with you and the client on the phone. Or if you want to get the paper app like Carlin was showing completed and send it to us, and let's just say you don't have DocuSign capability, Shaw American will have that application DocuSigned on your behalf. Because this DocuSign system costs about $5,000 a year, so I know you're not going to want to buy it for one case, but we've got that. We're making that available to you guys so you can have those forms DocuSigned also for the delivery requirements the same way. I know it's very difficult to get out there and get people to pay attention in the world we're in because they want to have, they got to keep one eye on the stock market and one eye on the news, and it's hard to get through to people. But I wish you all the most of success on this stuff, and we're just here to back you up 100%.
John, something I forgot to mention, on Producer Bay, as you start doing business with Pacific Life, what you'll see in Producer Bay on your Enforce side, there's the opportunity to actually go out there and look at your book of business, and it actually shows you the conversion expiration date for all of your clients' business out there. So it's got a lot of nice tools. So as you build your book of business out there, you'll see a lot of good information. And sometimes clients don't necessarily keep you up to date on their contact information where they do with the insurance provider. You'll see that out there as well, all their emails and addresses and everything.
Oh, yeah, that's great. And we're trying to encourage everybody when they write an app or they write a policy to go ahead and log on an account with that company with a username and password, because let's face it, that's what the clients expect everybody to be able to do. And I know, and sometimes, and there's a lot of great capabilities for advisors to use that aren't really on the BGA side of it because we're doing all this volume stuff. But like you're saying, they can look up their cases when they come up for renewal, check the pay to dates, verify the beneficiaries and stuff like that. I guess the most important thing right now is to talk to people about reviewing their insurance. We remember in the year 2000, that's when all the rates were going up and there was this huge slew of applications applied for then. Well, that was just 20 years ago. So there's a lot of people with 20-year terms that have just had their policies expired, and many of them are into that 21st year. And how can you, I'm not saying you've got to go back to just your policyholders, but talk to everybody because it's likely the client you're talking to also may have another policy that was written through somebody like Zurich or somebody, or Chase Life or First Penn Pacific or CNA or any of these companies, or Genworth, First Colony, that kind of don't exist anymore. And they're great people for you to review their coverage and get them onto a stable 10 or 20-year level term again, because those rates are just going to go up and up and up and probably become non-convertible in the meantime also. So, what a great way. What if I could get you another 10 or 20-year term policy and you don't have to get examined? Would you have any objection to that? Just needs like a 15 or 20-minute interview by the home office, and we'll take care of the rest. Would you have any objection? Of course, my father always was the best insurance guru of all, and he had one line that he used for everybody. It was, Carlin, would you have any objection for me to review your life insurance? That one line gets past a lot of barriers. Asking if you have an objection up front, and most people say, no, of course I don't. And then, you've already kind of made the sale at that point. So anyway,
Well,
I
John,
think
you made a valid
everybody
point
out
too.
there.
I'm sorry, you made a valid point with people. Kind of a lot of people stuck at home. They've actually been looking into these things more and more, so they're looking for that phone call. They really policy review is a huge opportunity. I think that we need to take advantage of as an industry because a lot of times clients maybe bought policy 10, 15 years ago. Well, policies are cheaper than they've ever been today, and there's also enhancements that weren't on those older policies that you can get. So you can replace that policy with a better policy and potentially a cheaper policy for the client.
Yes, and the thing that's great about having these young people like Amanda and Brandon and Daniel working with Shaw American is they're very tech savvy, and so they can set up a Zoom meeting. Even if you don't have Zoom capabilities, they can send the link to your client. They can walk your client through the digital application. They can help your client do the DocuSign. They can do all those things for you. So you've got a really high-tech assistant who's really working for you with, Amanda and Brandon and Daniel, and of course Susan and Maria at the office also there to help too. So anyway, I think there's an opportunity to just write a ton of business out there if y'all if y'all would like to take part in this. That's all I've got. Carly, I just want to thank you and Pacific Life for helping us have such a successful year, and all y'all do in the background. It seems like you're always there if there is ever a stumbling block to help us out, and appreciate it. And I want to thank also all of our advisors for all the business and everything they've done to help us be so successful. Anybody else have any more questions they want to ask? I know people are reluctant to ask questions, but don't hesitate to call or email any of us, and we'll make sure we get back to you.
I really appreciate it, John. Thank you for taking the time. And anything we can do to help you guys out, we're here to help.
Thanks, Carlin.
Yeah, thanks, Carly.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Yeah.